it be? But me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to my 2020 NFL Scouting Combine coverage. I wanted to come on, give you a video kind of outlining how the rest of this week is going to go and into the future as we really get this draft season kicked off. I know I'm a little tardy. I called you guys. I summoned you to class about 3 weeks ago or so, and then kind of had some things going on. Wanted to really prepare myself. Didn't feel like I was thoroughly enough prepared for what I was about to embark upon. I feel like I'm in a much better position now. And so I'll give you an update a little bit later on in the show as to how we'll handle the Draft Prospects one-on-one series, when that'll get kicked off, and what is to follow after that. But I want to talk about the Combine and the coverage you'll get here on the Louie T Network first. And what I'm looking for at the 2020 NFL Scouting Combine, which gets kicked off on Thursday night. It's a new format. It's a new schedule. We're going to go through all of that quickly. So without any delay, I want to get into the things that I'm looking for from this scouting combine, as this pretty much kicks off the draft season, really the NFL season for that matter, because now you're going to start to hear a lot of free agency talk as well as we get closer and closer to the start of the new league year. So my top 10 things I'm looking for from the scouting combine going into this year's different format at the combine. And so we start off the list with number one, and that's how fast are Jerry Jeudy and CeeDee Lamb. To me, those are your top two receivers. Now, do not discount Henry Ruggs and what he's going to do at the combine. He's going to light it up. Henry Ruggs is going to run in the 4.2s. He's running a sub 4.3. The question is he going to beat John Ross's combine record of 4.22? I don't know if he's going to be able to get there or not, but one thing's for sure, Henry Ruggs is going to run a sub 4.3. That being said, do not discount him from being the number one receiver taken off the board. We saw what John Ross's 4.22 did for him at the NFL draft some, month and a half later. He was the first receiver taken off the board. Did not work out for Cincinnati, but his speed wowed the Bengals to the point where they felt the need to pick him number 7 overall. So don't discount Henry Ruggs, and he's actually 10 times better than John Ross. So this isn't just a guy with speed and no substance. This is a guy that can run and can make it happen. And so don't discount Henry Ruggs and what he brings to the table as a wide receiver and his potential to be the number one receiver in this draft. But to me, it's between Jerry Jeudy, his teammate at Alabama, and CeeDee Lamb, the wide receiver out of Oklahoma. To me, those are your two best receivers in this draft. And for my money, if CeeDee Lamb can come close to the speed that Jerry Jeudy is running, because the consensus going into this process was Jerry Judy's going to run a sub 4.4, some 4.37, something like that. And CeeDee Lamb's going to run a 4.47 or 4.52, somewhere in that neighborhood. And the disparity between the two and their speed is going to be the separator between who comes off the board first and who comes off the board second. I'm hearing that Jerry Jeudy isn't as fast as we think, and that he was clocked at Alabama last offseason running a 4.52, and that's kind of where he is. And so if he's not the 4.37, and look, if he's running a 4.55, a 4.45, that's plenty fast, okay? And even if he's running a 4.52, he plays faster than that on game day. However, if CeeDee Lamb, who we think is the 4.5 guy, we think is the 4.49, 4.47 dude, if Jerry Jeudy runs a 4.43 and CeeDee Lamb runs a 4.47, I think the disparity between those two won't be as great. And if you like CeeDee Lamb, that's enough ammunition to give you the reasoning to pick him first in this draft. So I'm interested to see how fast both of these guys run, because I think it could tell the tale as to who comes off the board first and who does not. As you get into my second thing that I'm looking for at this combine, how fast is Jonathan Taylor, the running back out of Wisconsin? Look, right now, there seems to only be one first-round running back. It's the same thing we talked about last year. All right, Josh Jacobs was the lone first-round back in last year's draft, and a guy with a similar skill set in Swift out of Georgia seems to be the one guy that could be the number one first-round back. Jonathan Taylor has a chance to insert himself into the first round with force by going out in the combine. And I'm hearing crazy numbers being thrown about. And it's Lion season, so I don't really believe it. I know what my eyes see. I don't think this is a 4.3 guy, but I'm hearing, Saquon Barkley ran a 4.4 flat last year and jumped 40 inches, 41 inches, something crazy. His combine was ridiculous. They're saying that he can, or 2 years ago, excuse me. They're saying that Jonathan Taylor can have better numbers than Saquon Barkley. I refuse to believe that. They're saying he can run a sub 4.4. They're saying he can jump not 40 inches, but 37 and a half. I got to see it to believe it. If those numbers ring true with the production he put up at Wisconsin, you're talking about a first round back, folks. So honestly, I just want to see it. I don't believe it. I need to see it. He looks like a 4.53 guy to me, which is perfectly fine. He looks like a 4.48 guy, which is perfectly fine for what he brings to the table, his skill set. Like what he brings to the table. Think he's a hell of a back. Just don't know if he has the giddy up to get into the first round. But then again, remember, last year, Josh Jacobs didn't run at the combine, was nursing an injury, ran in his pro day, did not run a sub 4.5. Okay, he ran in like a 4.53 or something like that, 4.55. Still went in the first round. So if you have the talent, sometimes the speed isn't that big of an issue. But for me, with Jonathan Taylor, if he wants into the first round, he's going to have to show that he has that top end speed. So that's something that I'm going to be looking for. You get to number 3. And it's how fast is Isaiah Simmons and what are his movement skills like? Pretty much, I want to know, what is his change of direction? Because remember, this is the guy that we got pegged all over the place. Safety, linebacker, hybrid, blitzer, this, that, and everything else under the sun. And so I already know the guy's uber athletic. I want to put a speed to that athleticism. And I want to see his change of direction. When they put him in the linebacker drills, when they put him in the safety drills, and they ask him to flip his hips, how fluid is he? I just want to see. I think I already know. I just want to see it for myself on this stage. So that's something else that I will be looking for. And really, I think he's cemented himself as a top 5 pick. However, if he goes out and doesn't have that great of a combine, he could, slide back to 7 or 8. Who knows? We'll see what happens in any event as we get to the next thing that I'm looking for at the combine. K'Lavon Chaisson out of LSU, the pass rusher. How much does he weigh? I mean, I remember a couple of years back thinking about Arden Key. And then, even last year, the Florida edge rusher that was drafted by the Jets, and talking about how much these guys weigh. Because if you're going to be an elite pass rusher in this league, you can't be 230 pounds. All right. Look, this isn't college football. I get it. And you want to see guys be at their best. But at some point, you're going to have to fill out that frame, and 230-pound pass rushers just don't pass in the NFL. They don't fly. So you got to be 240. You got to be 245 at minimum. And then, you want to see what these guys are able to do at that weight. What does K'Lavon Chaisson weigh at the combine, and how does he move with that weight? Because this guy was around 230 at LSU, but the dude was explosive and dynamic off the edge. I just want to see if he put on weight and how he performs. Remember, the Florida edge rusher last year that put on the weight looked sluggish. He looked out of sorts, and it really affected his draft stock, not to mention he didn't do the interviews all that well. I want to see how he handles putting on the weight. A guy that did handle some weight gain last year very well at the combine and got him a first-round draft pick was Brian Burns out of Florida State. Remember, he came in as a light pass rusher, got to the combine weighing just south of 250, and he lit it up. Looked really fluid and dynamic athletically with the weight added, and there was no drop-off. I want to see the same thing from K'Lavon Chaisson, so I'm looking forward to seeing what this guy is weighing in at as he gets to the combine. You get to number 5, and it's a small name, small school guy, has a chance to really make a name for himself. We see this all the time. And so I want to see if Kyle Duggar, Lenore Ryan safety, can be this year's Obi Melifonwu. Remember when Obi Melifonwu out of Connecticut, out of UConn, burst onto the scene, and we were just floored and really wowed by his athletic exploits at like 6'4". We've seen guys like this in the past. The Lions drafted a safety in the second round a couple of years ago. uber athletic, small school guy, could hit. This is the similar type of prospect here, guy that is physical at 6'1", right around 215 pounds or so, and he can move, he can hit. The question is, how athletically gifted are you? How fast are you? We're going to find out at the combine. If he runs well, he tests well, you could hear Kyle Duggar's name start to shoot up draft boards in the coming weeks. You go to number 6. How explosive is Curtis Weaver, the edge rusher from Boise State? This is another guy that I'm looking at because after Chase Young, there's to me a tremendous drop-off at the pass rusher position. And there really isn't anyone that definitively jumps up and says, hey, I'm the next guy up. And so I'm looking for someone to clearly identify themselves. I just talked about Caleb Von Chesson. He could be that guy if he puts on weight and he comes to the combine and is explosive because he has all the traits that you're looking for. But you want to see some of these other guys kind of step to the forefront and say, hey, I'm the next guy in line. Could Curtis Weaver be that guy? Right now, he's, to me, a second-round guy. But if he comes to the combine, he's got extra weight and he's bigger, people don't really know where to put him. He comes to the combine in shape and he runs better than what we saw on tape. Because he's crafty, not necessarily explosive. If he looks more explosive at the combine, he could be a guy that could shoot up some draft boards. So I'm anxious to see what Curtis Weaver looks like out of Boise State. The next thing I'm looking for is who at the tight end position can run. This is a position that I'm really interested in because the Redskins are probably going to be in the market for a tight end, especially if they don't do anything in free agency. But who in this tight end group can run? Because this is not a deep tight end pool. And so if guys are able to separate themselves with athleticism and you go back to the tape and they can run and they show you, like a guy that I was so high on last year, didn't have a lot of production at LSU, but I continued to tell anybody, Foster Moreau, this guy showed me something at the combine. He ran in a sub 4.6. I said, wow, that's Foster Moreau. And I put the tape on him like, this guy actually can block, he can catch, didn't get a lot of targets at LSU. He's going to be good for someone. Raiders draft him in the 3rd round and he's been spectacular for them. I'm looking to see who that guy could be this year. If someone can run and separate themselves from the rest of this group from an athletic standpoint, then you go back and put the tape on and you see, hey, this guy's got something I can work with. You could have some hidden gems potentially in this draft. Who are those guys at the tight end position this year? It'll be interesting to see what happens. There are some names already that are starting to sprout up, like an Adam Troutman out of Dayton or Harrison Bryant out of Florida Atlantic. But who's going to be that guy that jumps out of nowhere? You know, the Bryant kid, Hunter Bryant out of Washington, or, you know, Charlie Werner out of Georgia. These are names that are popping up now as we get closer to the combine and closer to the draft. Now, who's going to separate themselves? We're going to see. As you get to number 8, it's supposed to be a deep pool of receiver. I'm telling you, it is a deep pool of receivers. I've been talking about that for months now. But they're also supposed to be a deep pool of offensive tackles. Okay, if that's the case, let's see it. All right, go out, blaze the combine if you're a receiver. Go catch the football. If you're an offensive tackle, show off your athletic exploits. You know, show us what you're made of. There's some guys, Tristan Wilf as a tackle at Iowa, something can kick inside the guard and be better served that way. There are a number of guys that could potentially be some names that jump off at you after this combine takes place. Austin Jackson is a guy that I think is going to ascend as we get closer to the draft out of USC. You know, Dredrick Wills out of Alabama is a name that's starting to rise and easily going to be a 1st-round pick if he goes out and takes care of business at the combine. So it's a deep pool. Let's see these guys go out and perform. And number 9 for me is their new drills. All right, the combine is switching up the game on us this year. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go 9 and I'm going to go number 10 because these two kind of go hand in hand as we wrap this up. It's new drills. It's a new time slot for the combine. It's all new this year. They're doing a lot of different things to spice up the combine, including a brand new time slot. We're all accustomed to 9 to 4, 7-hour block, early in the morning to mid-afternoon, and then boom, we're out of there. That's not the case. They're taking their talents to primetime, are the NFL and the NFL Network. 4 to 11 p now is the time for the combine. They're going 7 p.m. primetime slot each of the following nights, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Sunday is the only day they're not in primetime from 2 to 7 as they finish up with the defensive backs on that final day on Sunday. So new time slot, new drills. The receivers are going to be running fade routes in the end zone. Same thing with the tight ends. You're going to have the quarterbacks doing a new smoke drill where they get the football as fast as they can, get the laces if they can, and get the football out. kind of emulating the quick hitch, that stop route, those RPOs where you're just trying to get the football out as fast as you can to the receiver who's ready for the ball. The DB's playing off, get it to him as fast as possible. So that's a new drill. They're going to time it. That should be a lot of fun to see. The offensive linemen are going to have a new screen drill where they got to get out in front of a screen. That should be fun to see. You're going to have defensive linemen with an all new rip drill where they're getting past about 5 bags to rip the ball out of the hands of the quarterback. So they're switching up the game at the combine, getting rid of some of these rudimentary and old drills that really were extinct. And now they're bringing in some things that are a little bit more up to the standards of where we are in today's NFL. So looking forward to all of these changes, looking forward to all of these different things that I've posed. What things are you looking forward to at this year's Combine? Leave it down in the comment section. I will be covering the Combine all 3 days, or all 4 days, excuse me, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Directly after the Combine ends, I will be live here on the Louie T Network breaking down what happened in that day's coverage. So I just want to end the show telling you about the Draft Prospects 101 series. It will get kicked off on Monday. The Combine ends Sunday. The first episode of the Draft Prospects 101 series will drop on Monday, and then we'll be off and running. Every Thursday, starting with next week, every Thursday, we will do In the Draft Room 101 live. So we'll do the Draft Room 101 series live every Thursday. We'll have a new position that we'll be talking about. And so do your homework, bring those positions. We'll start off with the quarterback position. The following week, we'll do running backs and wide receivers, or we'll do running backs. And then the next week, we'll do wide receivers and tight ends. And so we'll go forth with each position as we get through all position groups in this draft. Every week we'll be live. Get your questions ready. Get your comments ready. Looking forward to chopping it up with you. Phone lines will be open. It should be a great time. So that's what the schedule looks like. Combine coverage, followed by the Draft Prospects 101 series getting kicked off, and then Draft Prospects 101 live every single week, every Thursday night. From here on out, you'll get more details as we get closer, but looking forward to that. I thank you guys for joining me. Leave it down in the comment section. What are you looking for from this 2020 NFL Scouting Combine? No Chase Young, no problem. There should be plenty of fireworks during this Combine. A lot of athleticism going to be on full display. There's some guys that can threaten Jalen Reagor. A lot of guys can threaten that 4.22 that John Ross put up. Or 4.25, what was it? 4.25, 4.24. A lot of these guys can threaten John Ross's time that he put up at the Combine. What was it? 4.25, whatever it was. There's some guys that can run in this year's draft, and looking forward to seeing these guys on full display. I'm your man, Louie T, signing off. Remember, if it's not your man T, it's not the best NFL coverage it could be. Until next time, you guys know what to do. Bang that like button, bang that subscribe button if you haven't already done so, and make sure you leave it in the comment section. Looking forward to chopping it up with you guys starting on Thursday night. Should be really interesting to see how these guys go out and perform. We're starting differently this year. Quarterbacks, wide receivers, and tight ends will get the party started on Thursday night. Look forward to chopping it up with you guys and talking about what happened on Thursday night. Until then, you guys take care. Have a good one.
Louie T Network.